3, 2, 1, 8.
On KBLA, James Farr's on the mic, lifting up the people, keeping hope in sight. With Altadena spirit, he fights the good fight, speaking truth to power, shining the light. Try to break us, but we're standing tall. Lost our homes, but we ain't lost at all. Through the smoke and the ashes, we see the sun. Altadena's fight has just begun. Begun. We'll rise again. We'll build it strong. Through the struggle, yes, we belong. Hand in hand, through dust and pain, Altadena's heart remains.
Park, KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to The Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, and I am your host, James Farr. This is the show of record, and we are chronicling for the nation the deadly and devastating January Altadena Eaton Canyon Fire. I am so appreciative that you've allowed me to share this space with you. You might be out in the cars with activities in the backyard, in the garage. Thank you for allowing me to share this space with you. I want to invite you to follow us on socials at KBLA across all the platforms, and you can follow me at James Farr Live. I'm also on all of the socials, and before I tell you about today's program, I want to also invite you, if you've missed any of our previous episodes, the podcast version of this program is available on most major podcast platforms. I like to go over to YouTube, the station's YouTube, because it has a bunch of other shows. I invite you over there to do that as well. Coming up today, a couple of episodes ago, we told you about working on the building. We had developer Joel Bryan on, who worked with a black family who started the rebuild process on their home. Today, I have another family, the Emersons, Jarvis and Elaine.
I would like to welcome every one of you and thank all of you for attending Jarvis and Elaine Emerson's groundbreaking ceremony. This has been a little time coming, a lot of emotions, but it's also filled with a lot of hope and a lot of resilience. So we are going to have the pastor pray, and then they are literally going to officially ground break. They're going to break their ground, and then we'll have photo ops, and then we'll dismiss. Okay? Thank you guys so very much. So we're in the hands of the pastor.
Just real quick, it's hard to believe that after 7 months and 11 days that we're at this point. It's just been extremely difficult. I think we have some of our neighbors here. We've started a group chat, and we before all of this happened, we knew each other, but it was more of we were all in the running. So as folks drove up and down the street, it'd be a wave, how you're doing. But we have definitely pulled together and just really and truly watched out for each other. And then when I told them that, and Kendra knows, I said before they break any ground, I needed my ground blessed. Not just the ground, not just the workers of my lot, but of everybody's lot, of my neighbors who house survived, to ensure that they go back in safely. And then they reached back out and said, well, if she's blessing yours, she got to do the whole neighborhood. And so just want to be able to thank Pastor Angel, our senior pastor is en route, but we're just asking her to just really just bless the process, and just thank everybody for your level of support. Because if you want to talk about the gambit of emotions, I've hit everyone, and most of them 3 and 4 times. So if you want to know how to stop crying, I'm not the one to ask. But I just want to say we really and truly appreciate everybody coming out and being with us. And I can't wait until it goes back up, because if you think we're happy now, wait until we put the key in the door.
Yeah.
What a day to get to this moment. From the very beginning, it's been about covering and family, and no one can go through any of this alone. It is really about being able to come together and tap into your family, physical, spiritual, all of the things that are needed. With that said, it is important for us to realize that in this process, there is a blessing that comes when you go through it with integrity and heart and courage and confidence, but especially with faith, believing that greater things are coming, and that through this people can see your walk, they see your stamina, they see your patience, your endurance, and even when you get angry, which I've seen, not happy with other people on the phone, but you still come out and you show forth the love of Christ as you continue to help others. And we thank God for you, for both of you. And with that said, we're going to just put our hands towards the ground. Lord Jesus, we thank you, dear Lord God, for allowing us to come to this moment. Dear Lord God, you see everything that's been endured. You see everything that's been encountered. But God, you saw fit to get us to this place where the ground will break.
That's Jarvis and Elaine Emerson, Black Altadenians who put the shovel in the ground. Jarvis is going to join us on the other side, but we're going to talk about what that process was to rebuild. And I've been talking about the joy and hope that we are seeing in the community, and while they may only be the 4th or 5th black family that I know, that does not mean that they are the only families that are rebuilding. Jarvis is going to join us, and we're going to talk about what that process has been. Well, we're right up on the anniversary, 20-year anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. Let's hear some sound.
If you're still hearing us and you haven't left yet, please leave. I hate to say this, but I just don't have enough body bag.
The calmness before a storm is deafening.
As Hurricane Katrina was approaching, we knew this was going to be a catastrophe.
I didn't want to leave because I didn't know what we was going to be coming back to. I just was praying.
People won't realize how big Katrina was.
It's too big to turn. It's gonna hit us.
They call the rising sun.
not a normal hurricane. Something's wrong.
And my heart just sank. We have a breach in the levee.
We have rain inside the Superdome. I repeat, rain inside the dome.
In 3 minutes, it went from the ground to the roof.
A lot of people suffered, and a lot of people suffered needlessly.
Just let me know y'all living, you heard me?
People coming out of one bad situation, but they didn't know they was coming to another hell.
We expected FEMA to come in, but there was no help.
20 years ago this weekend, Hurricane Katrina also devastated a black community, New Orleans. Many of you all have said that this fire in Altadena is kind of like a contemporary Katrina. And I don't want to compare either tragedy. Both events have separate, unique circumstances. Both communities are similar yet different. Similar, yes, it's us, it's black folks, right? Different in that New Orleans is New Orleans, Altadena is Altadena, but I don't think it's fair to either of those communities when we compare the two. And I get it, it may be a parallel, right? Like you're trying to hold on to something that you've seen before. And we've talked about on this program, there's nothing in a video, a photograph that can compare to the real actual devastation when you're actually on the ground. And so, you know, I guess with Katrina, there is some warning of a hurricane. You know, people had some advance notice, and as it is now, the end of the month, for many people, resources run short. Many folks in New Orleans perhaps would have gone somewhere else that they could have been safe and avoided the water if, you know, folks wasn't racist. We see in that National Geographic docu-series, if you didn't know before, I mean, folks had guns pulled on them, trying to escape and flee into other areas. Well, in Altadena, fire kicked up. You've heard on this program, some folks said they had no warning. Some folks got some warning. Most people had to run and flee in the middle of the night with flames less than 100 yards, and in some cases, their back structure on fire. It's not the same. Altadena is not the same. When we come forward, Jarvis Emerson is going to join us. We're going to talk about this process of rebuilding. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. We got your black.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
On January 7th, 2025, the Eaton Canyon Fire scorched Altadena, torching everything in its path. Homes, wealth, and legacy burned in one night. But will Altadena rise from the ashes? I'm James Farr. On the Conversation Live Altadena Rising, we're chronicling the recovery, the resilience, and justice for the nation. This is the show of record, unapologetically progressive. We're not blacking down. So join me, James Farr, on the Conversation Live Altadena Rising every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific with the rebroadcast on Sunday at noon.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Be heard. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah.
KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to The Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, and I am your host, James Farr. We are sponsored in part by Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. 7 months after the fire, the Emersons broke ground. Just the other week, this black family is building back. This is a true testament to the roots, the resilience, the recovery, the rebuilding, and eventually the reunion. Jarvis Emerson joins us today, and welcome in, Jarvis. How you doing this morning, brother?
Doing real good.
Absolutely, man. So just, not too long ago, and I know obviously now we're 7 months since the fire, but y'all broke ground.
It was a real good feeling, real emotional, but a real good feeling.
Tell me more about that. I mean, because I had the privilege of being there to, bear witness.
Well, to be honest, it was until we actually put the shovels in the ground, I just didn't see it happening. Felt as if it was going to take a whole lot longer than it did. But to be able to take that shovel in my hand and dig that dirt, it did give me hope that I'm ready for this new journey, and just can't wait, until we put the key in the door.
And I want to talk about that journey too, right? Because I remember in the immediate aftermath of the fire, as you and your lovely wife Elaine were, you always remained hopeful, right? You always had this positive spirit about it, right? And so the fact that you've gotten here, and I think, we were at church the other day, and Pastor Jonathan DeCure, right, Victory Bible Church, your church, my church, everybody's church, right, talked about your mindset, right, and getting there. So I'm going to get to the journey, right, but first, how do you even end up in Altadena? Because I said in the top of the program, both of us have made this community our tribe and our home. How do you end up?
Well, you know that you and I grew up in the same city, in the city of Richmond. And so,
California, folks. Yeah.
I was used to being around people who looked like me. And so when I moved to Southern California, I initially started in Long Beach. And then was just doing some research on the different cities, and found Altadena and saw that Altadena had a lot of African Americans, African American homeowners. It was not a real big multi-family dwellings, and so that just really caught my eye. Is that this is a place I can go. My wife and I, we can actually buy a home and just get settled here. And so it just felt like home. It just felt comfortable. I didn't feel as if anybody was watching my every move, that they were more supportive. And I just fell in love with the Altadena community.
Now, something I learned just the other day is that your lovely wife, I thought she was from Altadena, and I find out she's from San Francisco, right? So, in that moment, we all were from somewhere else, but in this special place. So, did you have trouble kind of blending into the community? Because this place is so special to me, right?
Actually, no. My neighbor directly across the street from me, we just clicked automatically. And then just the other families, it was just a click. We may not have stopped and had lengthy conversations every day, but we watched out for each other. If somebody was driving down the street, we would always wave and speak. And so it just had a real good, loving feel to it.
And so I heard one of your neighbors at the groundbreaking talk about how you guys didn't necessarily kind of know each other.
Right.
That has all changed, hasn't it?
Most definitely. As a matter of fact, the night of the fire, as we did not know each other, but the night of the fire, you could definitely feel that bond really tightening. Myself and 3 of my other neighbors stood in my front yard and really watched the fire and was trying to make decisions on when we were going to leave. And then after that, all of my neighbors, we all have a group chat going, a group text going. So we share resources. We encourage each other. And we just let each other know of where we are and the progress we're making on coming back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's go back to the night of the fire. Right. Tell me what that night was like for you and your family. You live much further west from where the fire started. Did you get a warning or an alert?
Did not receive any warning. Actually, the warning I got, I was sitting in my living room and looking out the window. For some reason, I must have been just in a trance, in a state of disbelief that I'm watching this fire come this way. And the warning I got is when my wife came in and said to me, "We've got to go. We've got to go. Take a look. We've got to go." And so I got her, my sister-in-law who was living with us. She had suffered a stroke, and my grandson who was with us that evening. His parents were out of town. They had just moved back in with us, and so I was able to put all of them into my wife's car, and I sent them down the hill. And so I was able to try to think about what other items do I need to grab out of my house before I jumped on the road and went down the hill to find where I sent them. But it was just really pandemonium. We got ahead of the traffic coming out of Altadena. I would say a good 5 or 10 minutes later, I've been stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic.
Yeah, I've seen video of Lincoln, which it would be the nearest thoroughfare, right, that runs to the freeway.
Exactly. Lincoln, or even going down, I would not have been able to get over to Fair Oaks because it was just crazy going in that direction. So coming down Lincoln about 5 to 10 minutes after I got out, it was just super traffic trying to get out.
Going back to the property now, right? And then looking at what you first saw, like that moment that you came back and saw what was now your land, right?
Right.
The home you knew was no more.
Right.
So when you see that now, you touched on the joy part of it, right? But getting that shovel in the ground, what was that like? I'm trying to capture that moment with you. Like, what did that feel like?
Going from when I was able to make it back up there right after the fires were out, and even let me say this, is that when I was able to make it in after the fires and to be able to go up and see the total devastation and get up to my lot, and my lot still had active flames. And so it was real.
That was about 8 in the morning, so-ish?
That was about 8, 9 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
It was just complete disbelief. It was a thing of, I cannot believe that this is actually happening, or this is actually happening. I kept trying to wake myself up, and then having to ensure that my family was okay, that they were not losing it. So trying to hold on and not break, try to be that strong, that rock for them. It was real difficult, very, very difficult. So from then until when we put that shovel in the ground, honestly, it's still a state of disbelief.
Right.
Of like, at my age, I got to start all over again, and still ensure that my family is okay.
How'd you find a contractor? Like, because 7 months, I mean, there's some people still figuring a lot of things out.
Right.
And to see that shovel go on the ground, right, how'd you get there?
At my church, Victory Bible, they had a builder's town hall.
Okay.
And so I went, and there were maybe about 5 contractors there. And just listen to each of them talk, of what they can do and how they would do it, and give these, timelines, and just had afterwards they had a little break, and so I went to one and was talking to her and then found out something.
Who's her? Tell her. I think everybody needs to know her name.
I'm sorry. It's once I left her, I let her name just because I knew then I was not going to go with that company. And unfortunately, the reason why is because she was just the face of the company. And then when I saw the owner come in, I was like, okay, no, I can't do this. Then went over to my contractor, Kendra Mays.
Kendra, that's who I wanted to. So I want to know about the person who
Kendra Mays. And even before we started talking about the contracting part, we just started having a nice conversation. And so it was just an instant click, just an instant connection. And once we hooked in, then I introduced her to my wife. And my thing was if Elaine felt comfortable with her, then I knew I could feel comfortable with her. And Kendra has walked us through everything. If I had a form I needed to fill out and submit, she would tell me, no, you don't fill it out. Let me look at it. Let me talk. Let me see what we can do. And she filled it out. Dealing with the insurance company, with submitting the contracts, she was like, this is what you do. This is what you send. If there's any conversations, you have them talk directly to me. And so she just really stepped in and just really helped us understand the entire process.
I'm talking with Jarvis Emerson, Black Altadena resident. He and his family broke ground just the other week, and they are rebuilding. And we're going to continue this conversation when we come forward. I wanted to get a little bit more into the weeds, so to speak. So even though the ground has just been broken, the hammer has not quite yet met the nail, but the ends are meeting, and I want to know how they sold these things up to build their property. So can you stay with me for a little bit longer, Jarvis? Sure. All right. News is up next. You're listening to the Conversation Live, Altadena Rising. I'm your host, James Farr. Stay with us, only on KBLA, Talk 1580. We got your black.
Said I couldn't change that, that's another life. But I scrubbed that paycheck, I stayed on my grind. I was way back, now I'm front of line. Was I supposed to say that? Ain't trying to undermine. Mama lit to myself, must think I'm crazy. But I'm humbling myself, and I'm giving praise. Fumbling, got myself, they don't know what I'm saying. If you crumble and need help, I know who can raise you. Unspeakable, speakable. The meaning's unreachable. I'll go where he leads me to. More synonyms, I'm gonna need a few. Lately, I've had a hard time. Ain't been satisfied when I testify. I wanna make sure I'm sharp when I make the point.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power. Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Let me tell you something. Come on, put your hand right there. On my way home.
KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, and I am your host, James Farr. We are sponsored in part by Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. Talking with Jarvis Emerson, fire survivor, family who lost everything in the January Altadena Eaton Canyon Fire. At least they lost all of their material things. They certainly still have each other. But when you're talking about what we've talked about, which is the roots, the resilience, the recovery, the rebuilding, and eventually the reunion. I mean, this family is closer to the reunion back in their home on their property than they were January 7th and January 8th when they learned about their property's ultimate demise. Jarvis, brother, you were sharing with us the building process, and you founded a builder, a developer. I met her. I remember your wife Elaine saying at the groundbreaking that your developer, your builder, was going to be there with her up until her putting the last spoon in the drawer.
That's right.
Full service.
That's right.
Full service. How's it made you feel knowing that, because I know as a man, I get it. You want your wife to be happy.
Right.
You want her to be safe.
A lot of pressure off. So that not only myself but also of Elaine is to be able to hear our contractor say, I'm going to be there until. And the good thing about Kendra is that not only is she a top-notch contractor, but she's also an award-winning interior designer. And so that has just been, from a male perspective, that has been a lot of pressure off, of not having to know what do I need to get when we get ready to go back in. So she's just been a gem.
So I don't want to get into the math of it, and you share whatever you're comfortable sharing with, right? But I think people are trying to they want to understand, right? The county said that a property could increase by 10%,
right?
Or you can increase, some other areas of your lot. And so they say if you build like for like, right, which is basically the same footprint of the house that you previously had, you can increase it about 10%.
2%, right.
And that kind of expedited the permit process. So when did you file the permit, and kind of take us linearly through that step to how we got to that shovel going in the ground?
Well, the first step, we had to get the lot cleaned. That was probably a super frustrating thing, is to be able to get the Army Corps of Engineers to come out. We put our papers in as soon as possible.
You were early in.
We were early in. But the thing about it that was very frustrating, early in, but every time I reached out to them, they would tell me I was missing some forms. And so I went from.
What about FEMA? Did FEMA? Because Army Corps, we know everybody kind of had this process. They file and then they wait, and then eventually got done. And now 99% of the lots are clear. But what about FEMA? Like, did you guys get FEMA? Did you apply for FEMA first?
We applied for FEMA.
Did you get money?
We got that initial $700.
That's it.
That's it.
What about the? What they say? That's the SBA, right? The up to almost $100,000 is what FEMA has available.
Nothing. FEMA told me
they didn't pay for your housing.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
No. Yeah, I had the same reaction. It came to the point of where, to keep my frustration level down, to keep my blood pressure down, I stopped dealing with FEMA. Relied heavily on a whole lot of prayer. My church supported me.
Sure.
A lot of prayer, and I have to give credit to my insurance company because they stepped up. But FEMA, the agency I thought would be able to help us, no. And so, as I said, we got that $700, and FEMA told me no, kept sending me denial letters, no matter how much I called, no matter how much I told them this is what I need. I was not able to get any assistance from FEMA.
Wow. I don't know anybody. And I've talked to a lot of people, Jarvis, and I know no one. So you guys file the permits, get the get the designs done. You kind of get an estimate on what it looks like you're going to build. Now, I've heard anywhere from $350 on up to over $1,000. I'm not asking you to share that information, but how are you managing the rebuilding costs?
My contractor was very good. Had very reasonable prices. She was lower than a whole lot of contractors out there. And my thing with her is that I don't want to cheapen of what we're going to do, because I don't want to get 5 years down the road and a wall is falling in. So she gave us some very comparable prices. She was very responsive. So if we would have a Zoom meeting with her almost like every other week. She would send the designs. And you know, I grew up in a home where my father was an architect and contractor as well. And so I would say, well, no, this is not what I want. This is not. I would say a good hour, she would send me something else. And so, and it even came down that with the final plans that we finally approved, that we agreed on, is that she was very responsive. And that really helped out a great deal. Again, she kept in contact with us. She kept in contact with my insurance company, something that she really didn't have to do.
And she was doing a lot of jobs.
Exactly.
I mean, a lot.
A lot of jobs, right.
When is the reunion? I mean, you broke the ground a couple of weeks ago. When do you expect to be in? When is the barbecue?
and believe it or not, after the groundbreaking, I reached out to a couple of friends who have a barbecue business, and I told them, get ready.
Get ready.
We are looking at, if there are no delays at all, we're looking at the end of the year. We're looking at, she is pushing to have us back in our home for the holidays. And so, but I'm looking at the possible delays with weather, with supplies.
Sure.
You know, there can be slow on coming out to inspect, and so I'm just building in those little delays. But if everything runs smooth, we're looking at by the end of the year. If delays happen, we're looking at maybe about the middle to the end of January.
Middle to the end. All right, brother. Well, you know I know where it is, and you know I'm gonna be there. So plate in hand.
Oh, we'll have
the KBLA Talk 1580 delegation has been there since day one, and I mean this isn't to tout us, right? But how can we continue to support fire survivors?
I would say, James, is just don't forget us. It's I think the thing that people need to really understand is that even when we move back in our house, there's going to be a period of transition even going back in, because it may be new, but we may be looking for what we had before, so I have to get used to a new setting. Just like when I had to move into this apartment, you know, I had to get used to a new setting. Going into my home, I have to get, back to a new setting, and not just for myself, but for my neighbors and for everyone else out there. And I just have a real special place in my heart for the seniors. Is that this is a new place. They have at the age that they are, the age that I am. I have to learn new things. And even for some of the people who may not return, you have to learn a whole new neighborhood.
Right.
And so it's definitely going to be a process.
What's sustaining your hope, Jarvis?
Again, I have to say prayer.
Prayer.
A lot of support from my church. Those individuals that I met along the way that we keep in contact with. Definitely KBLA 1580 is that you have not forgotten us. And again, my thing with me is that I grew up in a household where we both grew up in the same household where giving up and giving in was not an option. And so
we built Richmond tough,
Man,
so that's
exactly.
a whole that's a different
nother
show. And you knew my father, and our families knew each other
exactly.
But again, what makes Altadena one of those special places? Everybody knows somebody that knows somebody who knows somebody,
exactly.
Right? And we have made this community our home, and and that's where we intersected, right? And as soon as we got there, man. So I am, first of all, brother, congratulations to you and your family.
Thank you.
your grandson, who I'm watching grow up, your son-in-law, Everett, and Marjani. I can't wait to have her on. She's very accomplished. Both of them are artists, right?
Yes.
So I want to talk about some of the art and culture of Altadena. And, you cool, but Sister Elaine is the one.
She's the driving force. And James, if I can just say this one last thing, it's my grandson was there at the breaking of the ground.
Yeah.
He was there when I had to rush him out of the house to see that. And so I wanted him to be able to see that things can actually progress. And so for him to be able to see, this is what we lost, but look at what we're about to come back to.
Healing. Jarvis Emerson has been my guest. Thank you, Brother Jarvis, for joining us and sharing your story. KBLA Talk 1580 is going to be there with you guys along the way. I can't wait for the invitation for the barbecue.
It's on the way.
When we come forward, I have some updates that you don't want to miss. Only on KBLA Talk 1580, your ancestors' favorite radio station.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580. When the flames subside, who ensures that the stories endure? At KBLA Talk 1580, we're committed to preserving the voices that shape our community. We know people have short memories, and as long as this Black Talk radio station is on the air, we will not let Altadena be forgotten. We are honored to announce that the Altadena Historical Society will officially archive our recent town hall alongside every episode of Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr. This is the show of record, the definitive source for tracking Altadena's roots, resilience, recovery, and reunion. These stories will now live on for students, scholars, researchers, and journalists seeking truth and legacy in the months and years to come. Because history isn't just made, it's honored, it's recorded, and it's passed forward. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, and I'm your host, James Farr. We are sponsored in part by Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. It's that time of the program where we give you some weekly updates, and you can always get more updates over at the Altadena Rising page on Instagram. Ash, Taylor, and the team are doing an amazing job keeping the community informed. It's in a non-siloed type of environment. They vet it, they post it. It's great information. If you're looking for resources, updates, relief efforts, ways to volunteer, you can find all of that over at the Altadena Rising Instagram page. That's at Altadena Rising Instagram page. Last week, we heard from Dr. Brent Musson, the lead organizer of the TEDx Altadena event, which takes place on Sunday, October the 26th. I know that's a little ways off, but if you're interested in participating, you have to go over to the the TEDx Altadena page and find out information on how you can submit, how you can participate. The deadline to do that is on September 10th. That's the TEDx Altadena page, TEDxAltadena.com. Go over there if you're interested in learning a little bit more information about that event. They're sharing ideas, so if you have a big, bright idea, maybe we'll see you on that TEDx stage. I'm looking forward to hearing from all the speakers. I'm a big fan of TEDx and TED Talks. Some legislation that you need to pay attention to, as the folks up in Sacramento or some of our local electeds, or California Assemblymember John Harabinian is authoring AB 238. It's a mortgage deferment act. Also, Senator Sasha Perez, she also represents this area. She is moving forward SB 256, and it's an electrical infrastructure legislation. And then there is Assemblywoman Tina McKinnon, AB 851, which is unsolicited home offers. So there is some legislation. I'm not pushing one side or the other. We'll unpack those as they continue to kind of move through that process up at the state. I'll keep you updated as I learn about it. When we come forward, it's that time of the program on this beautiful weekend, holiday weekend, Labor Day weekend. Got a message in the music that definitely is inspired by the Emerson family. Only on KBLA Talk 1580, your ancestors' favorite radio.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With the KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorial, I'm Martin Gordon, chair of the Pasadena Community Coalition. Recently, I listened to a Tavis Smiley show conversation with James Farr. At one point, James said something that caught me off guard. Not because it wasn't true, but because it is. Black Altadena is gone. I know it may seem stupid and non-productive, but I stopped in that moment listening to Tavis and James. I broke down and cried. In the back of my mind, I told myself we can bring it back like it was. But James Farr's reality check hit me like a ton of bricks. My community is being murdered. I said murdered, not by the Altadena Eaton Canyon Fire, but by the people we elect to protect us, and by greedy and gatekeeping nonprofits who cannot see the forest for the trees. For the first time since the fire, I truly feel and understand my wife's inconsolable pain. Because I'm struggling to find a path to recovery and at least some form of normalcy. My community is crumbling right in front of my face. Lack of funding to rebuild is slowly destroying us. Many of us can no longer hold out, and developers are gobbling up our property. When I hear voices like Tavis Smiley and James Farr speak truth to power on KBLA Talk 1580, it reminds me that we're not crazy, just unheard. Make no mistake here, KBLA delegation, this is war, and we the people of Black Altadena are losing. It's like waiting for reparation. Not gonna happen, brother. In this new orange man world, no one, no entity is persuaded by right or wrong. There is no consequence for doing the wrong thing, and no accolades or support for doing the right thing. Will war-torn Black Altadena survive? Your guess is as good as mine. But what have I got to lose? I'm in my 70s and don't have time to wait. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once suggested that riots break out when people have no hope. But there's nothing left to burn down in Altadena. I wish I could say I remain hopeful that my beloved community will rise again like a phoenix from the ashes. I wish I could. With a KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorial, I'm Martin Gordon, chair of the Pasadena Community Coalition. Pasadena Community Coalition at gmail.com. Reach out to me. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the conversation live, Altadena Rising, and I'm your host, James Farr. We're sponsored in part by Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. This has just been, it's been joy on this one. really want to thank Brother Jarvis Emerson, his lovely wife Elaine, their daughter Marjani, son-in-law Everett, and their grandson, for really sharing this story. We've talked about working on the building. We've talked about, I know now just less than a handful of Black families that have put a shovel in the ground and broken ground. And, my heart is just full. I'm happy for the Emersons. I know Brother Emerson, we go way back. So for others, we're going to keep it, it's been such a nightmare, but, we want to just kind of pause for a second and celebrate those who are moving closer. All right, last weekend of the summer, looking for some barbecue. We outside, y'all. Thank you as always for spending this time with us. Conversation Live, Altadena Rising. Next week, big weekend. I'm excited about it. It's my birthday, and I'm going, we're going to have some fun next weekend. I got a surprise guest, so make sure. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. Dr. Cornell West is in the seat next week, and we're going to talk about a little bit of this historical context of where we are right now. Kim, Reggie, Nyla, Tiana makes the graphics. Simeon is on the boards. Thank you so much. Until we have another opportunity to speak with you, as always, agape.